Todd, I'm a small real estate photography company. I have a competitor moving into my market that's bigger than me, has more products, more services, more photographers. What do I do?
Great question, Craig. The first thing is don't panic. I think it's natural to panic, but don't panic. You've got this.
Okay, I've got this. I've got this. Let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography company. Spiro is a software platform built by real estate photographers for real estate photographers. And the whole idea is it's a software platform to help you manage your entire business process, from providing custom order portals for your realtors to upselling them during the ordering process and exposing them to more of the services that you offer that can help their business, to delivering the media that you shoot for them. We handle everything from start to finish, and our goal is to help you increase your average sales price through the Spiro software. I'm your host, Craig Magrum. I'm the business development and client care specialist for Spiro and a host of the podcast. And with me, as always, Spiro owner and founder and co-host of the podcast, Todd Kivimaki.
Hey, thank you, Craig. It's great to be here today. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, welcome. It is great to have you here. For you returning listeners, thank you for coming back. We appreciate you all. We want to make sure that this is a valuable resource to all of you. So please don't hesitate to contact us, hello@spiro.media, and ask a question. Are you struggling with something in your real estate business? Do you have a question? There's no question that's too big or too small. Send it over to us. Let us know what you want to hear. We will make this podcast around the needs that you have. If you could do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, that would help us, and will also give you notifications of our next podcast. So for today, Craig, it's exciting to be here, and we have another new topic. But what is our topic for today?
Yeah, so it's kind of a personal one, and it's a question that I asked you when I was running my real estate photography and videography company, and it's this. I have a large competitor coming into my market that up until now, I had other competitors, but we were all kind of, small companies. But there's a big dog coming into town. What do I do? Do I have to grow beyond where I am now to stay competitive?
Yeah, it's really a personal question, Craig, and I'm glad that we're going to discuss it today. And both of us have a different perspective on this question. So no matter what you do, you can decide for yourself, and this truly is your business. So there's no wrong answer here, and we'll give you a little insight on both paths. So, Craig, I know that why don't you go ahead and tell us, I know we had this conversation with you and C Imaging probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, as you were in this actual situation. I think a little insight, what variables did you process, and how did you come to a conclusion?
Yeah, so my personality is, I'm more of an introvert. I really enjoy one-on-one conversations, one-on-one relationship building. I'm not so much as strong, or at least as comfortable one-on-many, speaking in front of large crowds, or even, if I'm in a big social situation, you'll find me more on the edges, just kind of watching and listening, and I'll engage in conversations here and there. So the business that I had, it was a lot of one-on-one relationship building. I did the bulk of the appointments. We were shooting about 1,000 listings a year in the last year that I was running C. I did about 80% of those, about 800 a year. And then I had another photographer that I hired. His name's Kenan, great guy. Kenan's on the WOW team now. And we love Kenan. He's a great guy. But he did about 20% of the listings. And I was comfortable there because I really enjoyed shooting. I really enjoyed being at the homes, interacting with homeowners, building the relationships with my realtors. It was all one-to-one relationship building, and I took pride in how good a care I gave my clients. There's just that pride of ownership. And I enjoyed the freedom. It wasn't a ton of management. Kenan, I didn't need to worry about him. He did a great job, and so management was easy in my case, and I was enjoying just everything that I was doing, and I had enough income. I'm kind of the mindset where if I have enough, I'm happy. I don't have to make a ton of money. I don't want to be poor, obviously. So I was in a good spot, but had a larger company coming into the market that I served. And I started to get a little bit nervous, and I wrestled with the question: do I have to grow? Because I've always heard the statement: if you're not growing, you're shrinking, you're falling behind. From a lot of business people that I really respect, I'm like, but I don't want to grow and make this more complicated than it is, because I know if I'm going to grow this, I have to take off the photographer hat probably and become more of a manager and leader. And I know that sounds bad, not wanting to be a leader, but it was a serious question for me. And so, for me, what I kind of settled on it after you and I talked, Todd, was there's always space in a market for boutique photographers, smaller companies that can give a lot of individualized attention to their clients and just give a deep level of service to those that they're working with and for. And that's what brought me peace. That's what brought me joy and contentment and fulfillment. And I decided that, I'm just going to keep doing the best that I can and offer the services that I can to my clients and treat them well, represent them well on the listing. And ultimately, I can't worry about this bigger competitor. They might get some of my clients, and you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they're going to be better served. It's going to be a better relationship for them. So I kind of settled on, I'm going to stay where I'm at and just do the best I can in serving my clients well.
Yeah. Yeah. And you made the right choice for you, Craig. And the thing to remember here is there is no wrong choice. Now, I took a different path, and as WOW began to scale, I always, when I was creating WOW back in 2004, I always envisioned it to how can I shoot as many as possible? And not just myself, but how can I shoot as many tours with a team as possible? So that's just where my brain went. The beautiful thing as a business owner, you get to make that choice. And I think that's, if you've come especially from a position where you held a W-2 job and you were employed by someone else, coming into being a business owner is a mindset shift, because your business exists for you. It exists to meet your needs. And that's something a little bit strange. And it's something that takes some thinking. And for those of you that aren't used to thinking like that, it almost feels, I know for me, it feels a little selfish.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, what do I want this business to do for me? I'm the personality that I want everyone else to be okay. So for me to think about what's the business going to do for Todd, that's a little weird for me. But the business is yours, and it exists to provide to you the lifestyle and the hours and all of those different variables that you desire. So, I've worked with many coaches over the years, and a great definition. So I worked with a coach from the company Action Coach. And in no way, when I tell you the kind of the coaches and the companies that I've worked with, I'm not endorsing or unendorsing them. I'm just giving you my experience. So we're not sponsored by anybody, where I'm just giving you my real life experience. But they define a business as a commercial, profitable enterprise that runs without you. So again, that is a commercial, profitable enterprise that runs without you. So that is what they define a business. And again, they're working with a lot of business owners that want to scale and that want to get eventually out of the business. So, but it doesn't mean that you can't be a business owner that does all of the photographing or the videographing. So it's really up to you.
Yeah. when you take the track more that say Wow Video Tubers did in growing, and you had to make that transition that I talked about where you kind of switched hats. I think it was over time, if I'm not mistaken, but you had to put more of the leader hat on instead of the photographer hat. And that's a whole different skill set. And there are people that are wired for that. You might enjoy the photography, but you've got some strong leadership qualities, and you have the ability to create jobs for other people. That's a high calling, Todd. I mean, yeah, I know you want to say something. I'm thinking back to a Christian business roundtable group that I was a part of called Truth at Work. Again, not endorsing them, but it did help me personally address some of these questions as well. And one of the things that my roundtable said is, hey, you do have this ability where if you grow it, you're going to be able to create jobs for other people. And I felt kind of guilty because that wasn't a passion. And I felt like, well, maybe this should be, because that would be a good thing to create jobs for other people. But it wasn't what brought me the most fulfillment. It was more the creative side and communicating with people. But yeah, you're working with business coaches, and you've developed those leadership qualities. So talk to the person that is opposite of me. They do have abilities and desires to grow and to empower other people. What should that person be doing to grow their business?
Yeah, great question. So you should be looking for advice if your goal is to grow your business. So basically, a very popular business book and still very relevant today is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And so he describes a couple of different roles inside of a business. And one of those is a technician. So the technician is the person that does the work. So doing the shooting the media in the house, doing the editing. So you are the technician. And basically he describes that you're exchanging your time for money. And there's nothing wrong with that. The other side of the equation is, and there's three of them, I'm just going to go over two today, but is the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur thinks about how must the business work, where the technician thinks about what work must be done. So if you're the entrepreneur mindset where you're thinking, how does my business have to work? Then you might be set up to the point that you have the desires to scale and grow your business. So if you are wanting to do that, I would suggest that you begin to think about what some goals and some visions are of your company. Do you want to employ 1, 5, 10 people? At WOW, I know we have just over 40 people that employ. And that's something to me that I find very exciting. Some people, there is a responsibility to that there's 40 some families that feed themselves from WOW, but those are 40 some families that help me. Another characteristic, Craig, and I've just learned this in the past handful of years, is that I used to always love to be the person that would give the answer. So I would have, I'd have our managers or just our customer service or our marketing people come in, and they would ask me a question, and I would give them the answer. And I felt good about that. Who doesn't want to help someone out? I would suggest that if your goal is to grow and scale, that you stop doing this immediately. Now, there is a point that you're going to have to train your people to be competent. So there's a job description, there's skills to that job, and there's a competency checklist. And if you don't have those created, that's fine. We can create them and you can do that. But there is something about being trained for a position. But once an individual is trained for that position, you've really employed them because you trust them and because they're competent to do those. So I've shifted my mindset to not giving those answers, but to asking the questions. And that really empowers your staff and your team to have the confidence to make those decisions for you. Can't tell you how many times someone would come in and, hey, Todd, we're doing t-shirts for this promotion. Do you want blue or black? And I used to answer, I said, I think blue would be great, or we should use the company red, or we should use, magenta. Now I immediately, well, what do you think is the best? And that's just a silly little example, but you don't want to get bogged down in the details of picking blue or black when you're trying to scale and grow a company. So I would suggest that if you are in the mindset of wanting to scale and grow, that you begin asking questions to your team members and empower them to be confident in their abilities. And they might not do what you do or do it the way you would do it. But as long as it gets done and the client's happy, who's to say that their way might not be better?
That's really a healthy approach to leadership and really developing people. And that's awesome. And that's, as you were talking about this, I kept thinking, well, we're not talking about the competition. We're talking about individual choices in what you're called to do. And I think this question of, do I have to grow to compete, is actually, in listening to you, I'm kind of thinking this is kind of a moot question. Because if you're doing your skill, your trade, your calling, whether it's leading a larger company and helping your company grow, or if it's keeping your company small and just serving your clients the best that you can with the personality that you have, it boils down to what you're equipped to do, and people are going to respond to that. The market is going to respond to that. You might have some larger brokerages that need a larger company to be able to work with, brokerage-wide deals. But you're going to have a lot of part-time realtors or smaller brokerages that want that more hands-on care that you can provide as an individual. And so it's not about the competition that's coming into the market. It's about what can you do the way that you're wired to do it, and do it the best that you can and love what you do. So Todd, you spoke to the entrepreneur and the leader mindset. And so I think we have a few more minutes. Yeah. Do you mind if I talk to the more introvert mindset and the one-on-one relationship?
Yeah, I think that'd be great, Craig.
Awesome. Yeah. So I want to talk to my fellow introverts that we just really enjoy the technician part of our work. As Todd alluded to, we like getting our hands on and doing that work and feeling productive and having a pride in what we produce. But we also really enjoy those one-on-one relationships where we might be a little bit quieter, or we might not have the grand vision for equipping a large staff of people and developing them. We just like to really build deep relationships with those that we serve. My heart is for people, whether it's on my faith is really important to me. So, my desire to see people grow spiritually is a strong desire. But then also in the marketplace, to be able to share the story of my business one-on-one with people and how I got to where I was, that was awesome. And it inspired people on a very granular level and a very organic level, where the question just came up as I was shooting their home. I would have a homeowner or a new realtors, ask me, so is this what you do full time? And I would tell them, yeah, do you want to hear the story? And they're like, well, yeah, absolutely. And so I was able to share the story of my business and how it had gotten to where it was. And it inspired them in their work. And they could see that I loved doing what I was doing. And they could see that I cared about them and wanted to help them. You got to have, I think us introverts especially, and I'm not saying extroverts don't care about people. Please don't take it that way. But we have an innate sense, I think a lot of times of empathy and really caring about individuals deeply, because we have very few close friends, but we go deep in those relationships. And you can take that strength that you have as an introvert and go deep with your clients, and they're going to appreciate that. And so you're going to have a competitive advantage that a large company might not have. So ultimately, all that to say, it's not about the competitor coming in from the outside. You keep doing what you're passionate about and do it the best that you can and be real and authentic with people. You're going to keep clients, and you're going to find new clients that appreciate that as well and need that more one-on-one, care that you can provide in helping them market their business. Does that work?
Yeah, that's a fabulous point, Craig. And I think if our viewers can take away today that there is no wrong answer here, they shouldn't feel guilty either way. You as the business owner get to define your path, and you get to define what growth means. growth doesn't necessarily mean I go from shooting 1,000 tours to 13,000 tours a year. Growth could mean that you're growing in your relationships with your clients. You're making an impact. So the greatest thing is just take a breath and build those relationships with your clients, and you get to define the path and the journey of what's right for you. Don't let others influence you. You can find inspiration, and hopefully some of you found some inspiration in Craig and I's differing path and story today. But ultimately, it's your decision, and it should be one that you put some thought into. And then once you do, you're going to have passion for that. And passion gives you energy, and the rest is quite honestly pretty simple from there.
Absolutely. We really should do a future episode on leadership and how to grow as a leader, because whether you're a small company and it's just two of you, you're still leading yourself and you're leading maybe one other photographer, or whether you're leading 40 people. But yeah, that's a business question. How can I be the best leader I can be? So maybe we'll tackle that in a future episode, Todd.
Yeah, for sure. We should put that one on the agenda. If you out there have a specific question about leadership or something else that was triggered today, please feel free to send it to us. Let us know your question. hello@spiro.media. You can go straight to Craig, and he is craig@spiro.media. And if you know someone that might enjoy this podcast, please share it with others. Maybe someone in the industry that you've grown close to. Please share it with others. It would help us along the way and grow our listening base and get some more comments and interactions for the podcast to make it really what you need.
Right. Yeah. We want to help as many people as possible. And one of the things that I love about this is we're going to have guests from time to time. And I believe it's going to be the next episode. We have a special guest, Pete Stagel from Servant 360, that's going to be joining us and talking about the benefits of joining your local realtor board. So that's on tap. We hope you come back next week for the next episode. And if you want to find out more about Spiro, make sure you stop by our website at spiro.media. And as always, thanks for taking some time to listen or to watch, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio podcast. And like Todd said, feel free to share this. If you find some value in this, share this with some of your colleagues. And again, we'd love to answer any questions that you have. So until next week, enjoy the blessings that you've been given and take a breath.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.